Hello, we are live
Hello.
post interview. And I probably should have wrapped it up a little bit, but I was worried that we would be late and I wouldn't get on LinkedIn. So I need to maybe schedule a time. But whoa.
I love that we ended with her on that note. I mean, okay, there's so much.
So much.
She's so brilliant,
Mhm.
so brilliant, so brilliant. And I love the fact that her focus and Jake's focus, Jake's Burgers, is about that. I love that phrase, loving on your
Yes.
people. I love
Yes.
that so much because that's really the truth. That's how
Mhm.
we increase our brand internally and externally. That's how we make sure our customers are taken care of because we focus on our employees that I love. She calls partners. Oh,
Yes.
I'm totally in love with her. Again, I'm
She
in
did
love.
she did so many things right. And the part of the end, the compatriots and and this is I knew Kendra would shed light. What I love about Kendra, and I think you and I have talked about this, Kendra is a rare find in that she has operations, marketing, and sales experience.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, her love is operations, but I've watched her in a marketing capacity and ain't no one, you can even tell with the way she speaks and the branding. And I see why I can imagine working in a restaurant for her. Like she lights a fire. You want to walk through fire for her because
Right.
she inspires, she motivates. But I was so touched by so many things that she said. The common things that we keep hearing week over week is it's all about your employees. It's all about treating them with respect. Gone are the old days of leave your personal life at home, working with people when you can work with them. I was very fascinated hearing her story about women and the realities of what we are facing as women entering the organization. And quite honestly, I think that is, and I never know if it's niche or niche, but I think that is an area where the hospitality industry, with this shortage, if they could cater right and do the right PR spin, could cater women in there, even though it has traditionally not been a female industry.
Mm-hmm.
And because I think there's opportunity for flexibility. Like even as she was speaking, I was sitting there thinking of, her GMs. Why couldn't they work split shifts? Hey, I'm going to work in the morning when my child goes to school, and then in the slow time of a day for a restaurant is 3 to 5. Schedule a manager that doesn't have kids during that time to make sure that people are in there. Let that person go home, get their kid from school, make them dinner, and then go back. Why can we not have that, right?
Well, I love that point that you made about and then go back because I think that's the thing that people overlook. And she mentioned it. Historically, we've been so focused on this 9 to 5, the traditional like work hour, and the reality is that that's gone. Now we need to focus on how do we work a project. We need to start looking at work as a project,
Yes.
as a continuous improvement project. And if that means I need to take off from 3 to 5 and then come back, and that's my work day, that I start at 7 and finish at 3 and then come back at 5 and finish at 7. If that's my work day, that's my work day. If I need, why are we having people hang around with nothing to do because we want to make sure they clock in their time, when in reality, send them home or find something else for them to do.
Yes.
Having people waste time wastes productivity.
And it's demotivating. And again, there's no reason for it. And when we talk about some solutions, that's where some of these solutions lie.
Yeah.
Like, yes, some people are like, well, who wants to go home and come back? Well, I'm sorry. If I'm leaving at 2 or 3 and I don't have to come back till like 5:30, that gives me time to go home, get ready for my kids, make them dinner, get them ready squared away with their homework, get them set up, and then go and work the rest of my shift. Another thing that I don't think that is talked about enough in the hospitality industry: why couldn't you do 4-day work weeks? Why couldn't you do 2 split shifts of 5 hours, and then do a 4-day work week? Like there's so many solutions that I think exactly what you just said, that we get stuck right? And Kendra, the way that it's just how innovative she was already with her team, how motivating, how she actually, the Jake's Heard, oh my God, like, tying it into the brand, but truly listening to people, not just placating them and saying, oh yeah, we hear you. Great, good job. We're going to do a drawing for everyone that submitted something and let's give them a free burger. They didn't do that. They're listening to their people. They're engaging with their people. And it really motivates me. Kendra is definitely, I think, the future of the hospitality industry. And I think listening to her path was mind-blowing for me.
Yeah, and I will up that ante and say she's the future of leadership in all industries.
Yes.
She really is, because, I will tell you, we were talking about women in the workplace and the difficulties, backstage before we got on, and the difficulties of I hate to say it, of baby boomer women who, and not all, I don't want to stereotype, but a good chunk of them, because they struggled to get in and break some of that glass, they were so busy saying, well, you, like she said, now I'm going to haze you. Now you've got to do the same thing, right? And the truth is, for Gen Xers like us, the people that helped us move up the ladder were men, were baby boomer men who realized, oh, I need to help this next generation. And so I love the fact that she talks about, if you can't make it here, I'm not going to discard you. How can I help you move to someplace else that's a better fit? How can I help you think creatively about adjusting your work-life balance so that it's beneficial to you and the organization? And I will tell you that, my very first boss did that for me. Like, he realized there was no place for me to go because of the structure of the company. And he literally said, it's time for you to go, kid. It's time for you to go.
I remember you telling me that story.
Yeah. And I loved him for that. And I never forgot that. I have been loyal to him since that point. And that was, I don't even want to say how many years ago, but it's in the 30 years ago. But I will say it took me being in my 40s to finally have a woman boss that cared and was compassionate and did all the right things. Not because women are bad bosses, but because women got so focused on, I have to be like men, or that perception of being like men. And we didn't bring ourselves to the table.
And it didn't work for us.
And it didn't work for
us. We're constantly labeled the bitches. You know what I'm saying? And something that really I look back at, though, and I have to say this, I was one of those bosses because it's all I knew. And when I got one of the best opportunities for leadership that I have had in my career was when I was working with Topgolf. And I got with Topgolf and I had the most amazing director of operations. And he literally created a safe space that allowed me to be human and allowed me to manage people. He had my back no matter what. But one thing that I realized with him, and I remember saying it, is I'm like, my God, I've got to unlearn everything that I've learned my whole career so that I can be a better leader. The crazy thing is, all of that leadership that I was doing because I was trying to fit in, because it had gotten me jobs. I can't lie. It did work for us, right? But it worked for me getting the job. It never worked for me keeping the job or being productive or being it never worked with that. Yet I kept doing it, right?
Yeah.
And so that's where he gave me permission, as she was saying, to be able to be me and bring me to the table and not be afraid to do that. But in order to do that, I had to unlearn so many unhealthy things that I had learned. And I think that as leaders in this country, we got a lot of that going on in the hospitality industry, but in all industries.
But I love what you just said about it allowed you to be human, because that's the thing. We need people, we're working with humans, and we need people to be human and bring their whole selves to work so that when they leave work, they're bringing their whole selves home to their families.
Like Kendra said, if you're not happy outside of the four walls, you're not going to be happy inside.
Yeah. I love that.
That one was
so powerful.
That's a hashtag.
Yeah, seriously. Absolutely. Like that's a quotable, that's a hashtag.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love this conversation. I love the fact that, she's doing such amazing work and she is the model for what you want in leadership. She
100%.
truly, honestly is. Man, woman, whatever your gender is on the spectrum, she is the model for what you want in a leader. And, I'm excited about leadership and where it's going because of her. Oh my
I
God.
agree.
I love her.
She makes me want to go back to working in a restaurant. She was that
I've
inspired.
never worked in a restaurant except as a host when I was in college, and I want to go work in a restaurant.
Yeah, that's the PR and the breath of life this industry needs. So people need to be, she needs to be more center stage. People need to be listening to leaders like Kendra Shier because of what, and I'm not just saying that because she's, my dear friend. I'm saying that like she moved me in this conversation.
Yeah, she's brilliant. So who's up next week?
So on deck, yes, next week we have Nick Vojnovic. I always butcher his name, and he is the president of Little Greek Franchise. And Nick and I worked together back in the days with me and Scott Taylor when we were at Beef O'Brady's. And Nick is he is also, I think, an operations guy, but will look through a sales lens. He's a sales guy. Everyone loves him. He's very active in Florida's his home state, but he's always been active with the National Restaurant Association, with Florida Restaurant Association. I'm super excited to have Nick next week, and I think he will also add some major insight to this conversation.
Oh, I'm so excited. Well, I can't wait to see what goes on next week.
Me either. Thank you again so much for joining us. Thanks everyone for joining us, and we will see you all next week. Bye.